Good morning, everyone. So today they're going to be talking about, the conference is called, uh, stop, never mind. It's about the finding the lost students, and it's talking about making justice, and this will make the people happy or something like that. I don't recall. It's in the title, but we're going to go ahead and start now. Good morning. You can notice he's wearing a gray shirt.
Bueno, el día de hoy vamos
So
a
today we are going to be
tratar sobre la
dealing
investigación
with the
que se
investigation
está llevando a cabo
that is taking
para saber el
place
paradero
in order to find the
de
resting
los
place
43
of the
jóvenes
43
de la
youth
normal de Yotzinapa.
of Yotzinapa.
Hemos estado
We
en
have
reunión con
been
los
in a meeting
padres,
with the
con
parents
las mamás, con los
and
papás
the
de los
mothers and the
jóvenes.
fathers of the youth.
Hemos estado varias veces
And we have been
en
there
comunicación
several
con
times
ellos.
in communication with
Tenemos el
them.
compromiso
And we have the commitment
de encontrar
of
a los
finding
jóvenes.
these youth.
Es una prioridad
It's
del
a
gobierno.
priority of this government.
Se está haciendo todo
We are doing
lo
everything
que se requiere,
that
se
is
necesita.
required, that is needed.
Es el gobierno en su conjunto el que está
It's the government
participando.
in conjunction that is
No
participating.
hay ningún obstáculo, ninguna limitación.
There is no obstacle, no
Está
limitation.
participando
Everyone's
la Secretaría de
participating.
Defensa,
The Secretary of Defense.
presentando
They're presenting
información
information
en las instalaciones
at
que
the
no se
installations
permitía
where before they didn't
visitar,
used to permit to
se han
visit
abierto
have been opened up
a los padres,
to the parents,
a los abogados, a
to
los
the attorneys,
investigadores,
to the investigators.
y
And
ahora vamos a
now
informar
we are going to
sobre
inform
el
regarding
estado que
the,
guarda
the state
investigación.
or the status of the
Ofrecí
investigation.
en la última
I
entrevista
offered at the last interview
que sostuvimos con los padres
that
que me
we
iba a poner el día de hoy, lo mismo
said
Alejandro,
with the parents that we would be
esta
meeting
playera,
today, and we put on these
estoy cumpliendo
T-shirts
con eso.
to comply with that.
Ellos me entregaron esta
And they gave me these
playera
T-shirts,
y me pidieron que
and they asked me
me
to
la pusiera.
put it on,
Y estoy por eso
and that is
así.
why I am dressed like this.
Es un asunto
It's a matter
fundamental para
that's
el gobierno de la
fundamental
República
for the government of the Republic that we
esclarecer
can
los hechos,
clarify the acts
encontrar a los
and
jóvenes
find the youth
desaparecidos
that have disappeared
y hacer justicia.
and make
No
justice.
hay, repito,
There is
ninguna
no,
limitante.
I repeat, no limitation.
No hay impunidad.
There is no
Para
impunity
nadie.
for anyone.
Y
And
se está trabajando en
we are
colaboración
working in
con la
collaboration
Fiscalía General de la
with the District
República,
Attorney of General
y yo
of the
espero se tenga
Republic.
pronto resultados.
And I expect that soon we
Porque
will have
se
results
están, atendiendo
because we are attending
las cosas bien, se está
matters well,
trabajando de manera profesional
and we are working
y
in a
ahora
professional
Alejandro
way. And now
informarnos
Alexander will inform us.
y guardando el respeto por
And-
la autonomía
And
de la Fiscalía,
guarding the
se
respect
invitó
of
también
the district
al fiscal
attorney
del caso
because
para
he
que
is on the
nos
case
informe
and he can
todos
inform us all
sobre cómo va este proceso
regarding how this
de
process
investigación.
is
Entonces
going.
vamos a empezar
So
con
we're
Alejandro.
going to start with Alejandro now.
Con su autorización, señor presidente.
Bueno, hoy, al cumplirse el quinto aniversario de
So
estos
this is
lamentables
the
hechos,
5th
en la noche del
anniversary
24 y
of
25 de
the
septiembre de 2014 en la ciudad de Iguala,
of the lamentable
vamos a
act
hacer un proceso
of
de rendición de
the
cuentas,
disappearance of
no
those young
solamente
people.
en esta
Today
conferencia
we're
de
going to give a
prensa.
rendition of
El día de hoy
accounting.
se transmitirá
So
a
today
través del
we will
sistema público de
transmit via
radiodifusión del
the
Estado mexicano un
public
documental de
system
los
a
trabajos realizados,
documentary of
una
how
entrevista que
an
se ha hecho que a
interview
lo largo
that
de
is
una
being
hora
done
los hizo Gerardo
based
Villamil,
on what
titular
they're
del
doing on the
sistema,
investigation and on their
queremos
system,
utilizar los medios públicos
and that we're going to
de
be using
comunicación
the
para
public
este
media
proceso de
uh,
rendición de cuentas.
to
Vamos a
to
presentar
make this
primero el
matter
promocional
a
este video que
a
estará
realization of
en
accounting.
Radio Educación a las 16 horas, en las
And
estaciones del INEA
radio
a las
education
16 horas,
at
en Canal
1600,
22 a las 18:30,
and
en
at
Capital
there's
21 a las 19:30 horas,
somewhere else at
en Canal 11
1830,
de
21,
televisión a las
at
21 horas y
1930,
en Canal
and
14
Univision is
a las
2100,
22 horas.
and Channel
Agradecemos, por
14 at
supuesto, la presencia
2200.
del fiscal de la unidad especializada para el caso de Ayotzinapa, al doctor Omar Gómez Trejo, su presencia, y
So
vamos a dividir
they
la
appreciate
presentación en
the,
dos partes. Pero
so they're
veamos
going to show
primero
you the
este
presentation.
promocional.
Here is what it looks like. Because we're alive and they called us.
Hago el compromiso con ustedes.
I am making a
Voy
commitment with you.
y voy a emitir decretos
I'm going
para
to
que
write a
se
decree
lleve a cabo la
that they will
investigación.
take an
Yo no
investigation.
logro entender que es una desaparición, ¿verdad? Simplemente veo que mi hijo no está.
I don't understand that there's a disappearance. I just know my son is gone. I'm looking for him with all the love in the world.
Madre,
And this is where the
me
parents
falta un
went to.
pedacito de mi corazón. Vamos a
As a
llegar
mother, there's a
las
piece of
últimas
my heart
consecuencias y
missing.
saber qué pasó con
We
los
will
hijos.
go to the last final consequences to find what happened to our son. 41, Justice, Commission for the Truth, and Access to Justice.
Es una muy apretada síntesis.
It's
pero
a
creo
very
que da cuenta
brief
puntual,
synthesis
particularmente de la muy importante participación de los
to
padres y
show
madres de
the
familia
very important
dentro de la comisión.
participation of the
Que el
parents.
informe que voy a presentar, quiero
And
señalar
so
desde un
today we're
principio
going
que
to
hay asuntos
present
que nos
from the
vamos a
beginning,
reservar la información
and we're
que
going to
corresponde
reserve the
particularmente a
information
todos los procesos de las
that
diligencias judiciales que
has
están
to do with the
llevando junto con
judicial
los operativos
and
que
the
ya se han realizado
operatives
por razones
that have,
obvias.
obviously we have to
Entonces,
hold back that
hay que
stuff.
señalar que
But
hacer un
let's
poco de
signal
memoria,
uh,
que ya desde
that
el
we're
proceso
going
de
to be doing a
transición,
little bit
el
of
ciudadano presidente
memory.
como presidente electo sostuvo
So,
la primera reunión con los padres
This
y
is
madres
where
de
the
familia el día 26 de
president
septiembre en el
met
Museo de Memoria y Tolerancia
the
de la Ciudad de
26th
México, donde se
September,
estableció el compromiso
where he
para hacer la
established the
creación de una
commitment
comisión presidencial por la verdad y la justicia. Esto nos
to
llevó a que el primer
go.
acto
On the 3rd
público
of December,
entre el
he met
presidente de
with
la
them and
República y del
decreed
gobierno federal aquí en Palacio Nacional
here in
fuera el propio
National,
13 de diciembre,
the
donde se
the
creó
3 of December,
la
where they
fiscal- la
decreed,
comisión
they created a
presidencial para
commission
el caso de Ayotzinapa a
for
través
the
de un
case
decreto
of Yotzinapa
presidencial.
via
Esta
a
comisión se
national
instaló el
decree,
día 15 de
president.
enero de 2019
On
con el
January
objetivo de crear las
15,
condiciones materiales, jurídicas y humanas por parte del gobierno federal
they installed the
para que los familiares
commission
de las víctimas
on
conozcan
the
la
15th
verdad
of
y
January
el paradero de los estudiantes
to try and find
desaparecidos.
out where those
Este es un esfuerzo
children
que
wound up,
representa un
or
mecanismo
young people.
extraordinario
It's an
en el que
extraordinary
concurren,
mechanism
además de las instituciones del gobierno
that
federal, en este
where
caso
the federal
representadas por la Secretaría de
and the,
Gobernación, la Secretaría de Hacienda y la Secretaría
and
de Relaciones
Hacienda
Exteriores, la representación
and
de
the
los padres de
representatives
familia,
of the
los
parents
propios
all
padres
work
y
in
madres de
conjunction,
familia,
their
y
own
organismos
parents
de
and
cooperación internacional como la Comisión
mothers and fathers,
Interamericana de Derechos Humanos
and
y
the
la Oficina de
Human
Alta
Rights,
Comisionada
the
de Naciones
Office,
Unidas para los Derechos
and
Humanos.
United
Uno de los aspectos
Human Rights.
fundamentales, lo señaló el presidente de la República,
One of the things the
es que no
president
solamente
said
estamos abiertos
that
al
we are not
escrutinio
only
internacional,
open to
sino
international
al apoyo,
scrutiny, but
asesoría
also
y
to the
auxilio de
support
distintas agencias
and also
internacionales.
support of these
Motivo por el cual,
international
el día 11
agencies,
de
for
marzo,
which reason
se
on the
firmó el
11th of
primer
March
compromiso con la
we
Comisión
signed the
Interamericana
first
de los Derechos
commitment
Humanos
with
para
the
que, además de recibir el informe que estos
Inter-American
presentaron y que
Company of Human
formará
Rights
parte de las líneas,
will
forma
be
parte
forming
de las líneas de investigación que
the
estamos desarrollando en la
part of the
Comisión Presidencial,
investigation,
se integre un
and it
grupo
will
de
integrate a
asesoría
group
técnica que
of
sustituya lo que era el
technical
GIEI. De hecho, es el
accessories.
GIEI, renovado
and
que
they will
está
renew
suscrito con la Comisión Interamericana de Derechos Humanos. Y lo
with
propio
the
se hizo con la alta
National
comisionada, con Michelle Bachelet,
International
de
Agency of
la
Human
Organización
Rights
de Naciones Unidas,
and
para
the
la
United
coadyuvancia
Nations,
de esta agencia de Naciones Unidas en
and
las tareas de investigación.
they're
Como
involved
parte
in the
de estos
investigation.
convenios,
As
ya
part
se
of
ha
these
creado el
meetings,
grupo de asesoría
they've created
técnica, donde dos
a
de
group
los anteriores integrantes
where
del
two
GEI,
of the
Ángela
previous
María Buitrago y Francisco Cox, ya se encuentran
have already
incorporados
found
a los
themselves
trabajos de investigación,
incorporated to the
y
job
en
of
los próximos días,
investigating.
en
And in the next few
coordinación
days,
con la Oficina de la Alta Comisionada de Derechos
with
Humanos
the
de Naciones
Office of
Unidas, se hará lo
Human
propio
Rights, it
con
will
los
do
demás
its own
integrantes del GEI, para
with
que sin
the
ninguna restricción ni
there will be
limitación
no
alguna
restriction
participen
for the
en todos los
participation
trabajos
in
de
all the works
investigación,
of
de replanteamiento
investigation
que se está haciendo en la
and the
investigación
planning and
en el caso
investigation
de
that is being
Ayotzinapa.
done in this
Queremos
case.
destacar algunas de las principales
We want
reuniones de
to
trabajo
point
que se han
out some
sostenido.
of the
Una de ellas,
things
el
that
pasado
have been
28 de
happening.
marzo, con
On
el
the
presidente de la
28th
Suprema
of
Corte de
March,
Justicia de la Nación,
the
uno de los
Supreme
temas
Court Justice
fundamentales
of the
fue
nation,
el avanzar en el desistimiento
they
de los amparos que
they
la
stopped
administración anterior, el
that
gobierno
the
federal anterior interpuso
the states
ante la
that
resolución
the
del
previous
Tribunal
government
Colegiado de
had put so
Tamaulipas
that they
para
couldn't
la
do the
creación de una
research
comisión por la verdad
and
y
so
la
that they could
justicia.
have a
El
commission
gobierno
for
federal
the
anterior
justice.
interpuso más de 200 amparos,
They had
de
put
los
more
cuales
than
debo informar
200
que por
stays in
instrucción
order
del
to
presidente
prevent
de
the
la
people from
República,
finding out
todas las dependencias
all
del gobierno
what was
federal
happening with
nos
those young
hemos
people.
desistido
So we've
para no
just
poner
stopped those so that there would be no limitation, no obstacles,
legal o
legislative,
jurídico a los trabajos de
judicial to the
investigación. Ya dimos cuenta de las
investigation.
reuniones con
We
Esmeralda
let
Rosamela,
people know
presidenta de la
about the
Comisión
meetings
Interamericana de Derechos
with the
Humanos y relatora para México, en
Inter-American
donde el Congreso fue
Union
a
of
retomar el
Rights,
informe final de la Comisión
Human
para
Rights,
avanzar los trabajos de investigación
to
del
start
caso de
the
Michelle Bachelet. Y
investigation.
quiero destacar esta
And I
última
want to point
reunión
out
con
the
los
last meeting
exfuncionarios del
with the
gobierno del
ex-functionaries
estado
of the
Guerrero.
government of
Hemos
Guerrero.
tenido dos reuniones
We've
de trabajo
had
con
two
el
meetings of
gobernador
work
Ángel Aguirre,
with
con el
Ángel Aguirre,
procurador del
the,
estado de
the
Guerrero,
procurer
y
Iñaki
con los seis
Blanco,
titulares de la
and
Secretaría de
6
Seguridad
people
Pública y de
of
la
the
Secretaría
section
de Gobierno del
public
estado
and
de
the
Guerrero en
section
esos
of
momentos,
government in
quienes
the
informan
who were
el
in
próximo día
at that
martes
time
y el
in
día
office.
miércoles ampliarán sus
On Tuesday,
declaraciones
they will
en la
be
Fiscalía
amplifying
General de
their
la República,
declarations in the Republic,
particularmente en lo referente
particularly
a la
what's
investigación
referring
que
to the
desarrolló la
investigation
Fiscalía del
that
Estado
the
durante los 6 primeros días
that
de
what
los
they did
sucesos
during the first
antes de que
6
el
days
gobierno
after
federal,
the
en una actitud
occurrence.
omisa, que trajera
Was there
hasta entonces
because there
la
was an
investigación
omissive
y no incorporó
information and they
los
did not
aspectos
incorporate
fundamentales de la
the
investigación de la
fundamental
Fiscalía local
aspects of the
a la
investigation that should have been
averiguación
done
realizada por la
in
Procuraduría
that is
General de la
realized by the
República.
general
El día,
procurement
sí,
of the Republic.
quiero destacar también
I
las
want to
reuniones
point
que
out
se han sostenido
also
con la
that
Fiscalía
the
General
meetings
de la
were
República
done with
desde el
the
5 de febrero
District
del
Attorney of the
2019,
Republic
prácticamente
since
en menos de un mes,
January
a
of
menos de un mes instalada
2019
la comisión, en donde el
and
acuerdo
at about 1
fundamental
month
con
when
el
it was
fiscal general
installed
de la
on
República
February 7th.
no fue solamente la
It was
creación de la
not
unidad
just
especializada
a
del caso de
creation of a
Ayotzinapa,
special
sino de
investigation,
compartir
but to
todas las
share
líneas de
all the
investigación
lines of
que quedaron
investigation
inconclusas
that were
y
left
que y las
inconclusive
promovidas por la comisión.
and that were
Uno de los aspectos
moved by the
nodales para el
Commission.
nombramiento del
And
fiscal
it's got to do
especializado
with the
es que el fiscal
shining a
general
light by the
atendería las
district
propuestas que la
attorney
propia comisión
that
formulara.
has to do with the
Debo señalar
proposals
que hubo
by its own
distintas
commission.
propuestas que estuvieron evaluándose y
And
fue
they've been
hasta el
evaluated.
26 de junio
So on
cuando
the
se emite
26th
el
of
acuerdo
June,
por parte
when
del
they
fiscal
took
general
the
para crear esta
made the
unidad especial de
agreement so
investigación
that
e
this
investigación para el
unit
caso de
of
Ayotzinapa,
investigation
que posteriormente
would
llevó
posteriorly,
al nombramiento el 28 de
which
junio
on the 28th of
del primer
June
fiscal de esta unidad, el caso de Omar
took
Gómez Trejos,
into
que
effect
dio
the
el pleno
investigation
respaldo del señor fiscal
with
y
with
de
the
los padres y madres de
support
familia,
of the
así
district
como de
attorney,
toda la comisión
and the
presidencial.
parents have
Y
support
la
of the
última
whole
reunión que hemos
presidential
sostenido con el
committee.
fiscal general y con
And then the
el
next
fiscal
fiscal
especializado,
general
promovida
of
por el
the
presidente de la República en cumplimiento de un
district
acuerdo con los
attorney,
padres de familia,
in agreement with the parents of
realizada
the
el
family
18
and
de
the
septiembre,
president,
donde
realized
la
on the
conclusión
18th of
fundamental
September, where
es
the
avanzar en
conclusion
un replanteamiento
is to
integral de la
advance in an
investigación,
integral part of the investigation, and
las omisiones,
putting
las
out
contradicciones,
and
la
underlining
falta
the
de elementos, la
contradiction,
falta de
the
presentación de
omissions,
pruebas,
the
la
the
averiguación que
not
condujo
what
a
they
la mal
did
llamada
not
verdad
do
histórica,
to find the
en donde
information,
también se irán
where
desnudando
they
las
also
responsabilidades
let
de
go of the
aquellas autoridades
responsibility
que
of
ignoran
those
la omisión
authorities
o en
and
prácticas
omission
ilegales
and illegal
que, como se ha
practices
acreditado a
that
nivel de
has
la
been
opinión pública e
by
incluso
public
por
opinion
distintos órdenes de
inclusively
gobierno,
and
en donde se
also
realizaban
by certain
prácticas
parts
de
of the
tortura
government that
algunas de las personas
possibly
detenidas. En el caso
practices of
de las
torture for some of
instituciones
the
del gobierno
detained.
federal, el gobierno de la República,
So the
yo
federal
destaco
government of the republic,
particularmente las reuniones celebradas
the
con
meetings
el
are
general secretario de Defensa
celebrated with the
Nacional y su
Secretary of
Estado Mayor,
Defense
la primera el
and
27 de
the
junio de 2019
27th
en las propias instalaciones de la Secretaría de
of
Defensa Nacional,
June,
de un debate
and they had
abierto,
an
un
open
diálogo
debate
sin
and
ninguna
dialogue
restricción, sin
without
restricciones de
any
ninguna
restriction
naturaleza.
of any nature,
Establecimos
and we
compromisos muy
established
puntuales.
commitments
Desde
that
la
were very,
apertura de las instalaciones del
even
27
the
Batallón
opening
de
of the
Infantería en la ciudad
installations
de Iguala,
that
el
was in the
intercambio de
city of
información,
Iguala, the
la
interchange
puesta a
of
disposición de
information,
la comisión y de la
the
autoridad
disposition
de
of the
todos los elementos
all
del
the
27
elements
Batallón que
of
participaron
the
o que
battalion
estuvieron
that
esos días en
were
las instalaciones, en
that
las
when they were
actividades del
in the
27 Batallón
installations
y al mismo tiempo la coadyuvancia
and at the same time,
en las tareas de búsqueda.
and then
Hasta ahora
the
señalar
work
que
of
todos los
searching
requerimientos de
for the
información que se han
people.
presentado a la Secretaría de Defensa Nacional han
So
sido respondidos.
all the
Forman
questions have been
parte
responded
ya
to,
de la
and they are
de las
forming
nuevas
part
investigaciones
of
por
some of the
parte de la unidad
investigations on the part of
especializada
the
y un aspecto
specialized
muy
union.
significativo
And a
fue
very
como el día
significant
24 de
aspect,
julio
which was
los
the
padres,
24th
madres
of
de familia y
July,
la comisión
the
entramos
parents
a
of the
hacer un
family,
recorrido
we
en las
came in
instalaciones
and
del
we,
27
with the
Batallón,
parents, we went in
donde no
and
hubo
walked
limitación
through
alguna
that area
para
where there was
entrar
no
a ninguna
limitation
de
to
las
enter
instalaciones.
into any of the
Desde el arsenal, donde estaban los
installations,
explosivos, los dormitorios,
the
todas las áreas, el
dormitories,
centro de
all
fusión
the
de
areas
inteligencia, en
that the
donde
Center of
hubo, sin lugar a
Intelligence,
dudas,
where
donde se despejaron muchas de
they
las dudas. Nos queda
they
pendiente
believe
solamente,
they've
como vieron
cleared up
ustedes
some
ahí
of the
en el
doubts.
documental
And you can see in the
acreditado, cuál es la
documentary,
instalación de la
which
cancha
is the
deportiva que estaba
installation
previa
that
a
was
la
previous
instalación del Centro de Fusión de Inteligencia y de
to
Información en
where
esta
the
zona. Y
intelligence
otras dos
agency
reuniones que han
said,
sido fundamentales
and
y
other
muy
areas that
importantes
have been
son las que hemos
fundamental and
sostenido
very
con la
important
Secretaría de Seguridad y
is what
Protección
we've
Ciudadana,
had
donde
with the
por
protection of
primera vez
citizens,
estamos
where for the
teniendo
first
acceso
time we are
a
having
toda la
access
información
to all
derivada
the
del papel que
information that was
cumplió la Policía
derived
Federal Preventiva
regarding
y
what
el
the
CISEN
police had
durante
and the
estos eventos.
preventative
Porque a pesar de que hubo
maintenance that was
investigaciones
done during that
internas que
occurrence of
definieron
those
responsabilidades
investigations,
para
and those
algunos
that
de
had
los policías
defined
federales
the
preventivos y que
responsibility
fueron
for the
consignados
preventative
ante la
measures,
Procuraduría, estos
and these
no
people,
fueron incorporados
these
a
were
la
not
averiguación
incorporated in
previa,
the
a
previous
pesar de que hubo
investigation,
acusaciones
even though there
de
was
vínculos de algunos
accusations
bandos con la delincuencia organizada
by
que formaban parte de la nómina.
form
Se ocultó la
part of the
información y se
delinquency,
ocultó información tan importante
and this
como son
information
las
that was
bitácoras
omitted
del grupo de coordinación
from the group
Guerrero
of
que
coordination
articulaba todas las
Guerrero that was
instituciones de seguridad
articulating all
federales y
these
locales
federal
en el estado de Guerrero y
articulations
durante esos días
during
y
those
que ahora
days, and that is now
forman parte
are
ya
now
de
forming
los
part
documentos
of the
que han sido
documents
entregados
and
a
have
la
been
Fiscalía
given to the
Especial.
District Attorney
Debo
General
destacar
special.
la creación de un comité científico asesor
There's a committee
de
of a
la
scientific
Comisión Presidencial
assessor by
encabezado
the
principalmente por
president
el Centro Geo de
that
CONACYT.
they've got the Geo Department of CONACYT, and they've been doing a job that had been abandoned. These are the things of investigation that where we started by took all the information that had been so they had done something. Looks like they had taken the information from where they had been looking, unearthing places that had been stopped. There was more than 200 clandestine burial pots with many bodies, where 44 have been identified. None of them were to any of those children that had disappeared. So a fundamental part is the analysis of all the calls that were done in this whole region, not just the days of the call, but also the days after, because they're trying to see. So if the use of the kids that were missing the days after they were missing, this scientific group has done the investigation of 80,000 calls, where they have identified 200 calls of interest so they found 8,400 and several numbers that they've identified, a minute-by-minute call. But I cannot give you any details, but we do have certainty of how they realized by the illicit groups that at no moment was there contact on behalf of any of student with any group that was involved with any how should I say illicit groups. So this happened in the municipality of Iguala, and that's all he can say about that. So we've integrated a multidisciplinary council with the Republic, and they are helping the forensics that are specialists in forensics on an international level, and we have laboratories in order to take all the analysis and pieces that are existent on the things that they find in this search. And in a very concrete way, we've done this operations. And in a punctual way, we've done 8 operatives after 48 days of searching in Cocula. Okay, so he's naming all those. So Iguala, Huitz, Cucu, Mezcala, Tepecuilco, operatives in process, and in total 210 points of search and revision, judicial diligence in process. And the second, so it looks like they found quite a few. Investigation is developing. La Parota, Pozos de Iguala information, 180 points in these regions. This was a public dominion. So there's quite a few on that list. And Huitzuco, which is still in process, and the operation that is now taking place, which is public dominion, in Tepecuilco. I want to signal that they be realized more than 130 points of search. And so I want you to know that we are following with 4 judicial agencies for people that are involved with these acts. So this was just so that you'll know the operation that we did last week. It was Friday and up to Sunday with a support that was very important by the district attorney or district general of the Republic, the commission. They've been looking in the trash of Tepecuilco. In particular, we're following up the aspects that I believe are very important for this investigation. We need that the people help us to help us find true justice And we are trying, we will give 500,000 to those people who would give us true and verifiable information as to where these young people had disappeared, and particularly we will give 10 million to who will tell us, will give us the one of the people that were involved in the they're looking for the guy, the main guy, and they're giving 10 million pesos for him. And 1,500,000 for any of the students to be found, information on them. It'll be from, so we hope that you'll be giving us results. So they've gotten a big fund together, and so now they're going to let him talk.
Buenos días.
Hello.
Buenos días, señor presidente,
Mr. President and Subsecretary.
Mucho la invitación que
we
hicieron a la Fiscalía
appreciate
General de la República, en
that you've
específico a la unidad
made
de investigación y
to
litigación sobre
the
el caso de
district
Ayotzinapa.
attorney to come to the investigation of
Antes que nada, quisiera
Quetzaltenango.
abrir con un saludo
Before anything, I want to say
respetuoso
hello
hacia los
to
familiares,
respectfully
a las
to the
madres y a los
family
padres
and the
el día de hoy.
parents
Es un
of the young
día
people,
que
and it's
marca la
a
historia de
day
este
that
país y
marks
a
the
5 años de la
history
desaparición
of
de
this
sus hijos.
country, and 5
Como
years
ustedes
since your
saben,
children have been
el
missing.
26 de
As you know,
junio
the
de este año,
26th of
el
June
fiscal
this
general de
year,
la República emitió un
the
acuerdo que
district
crea la
attorney
unidad
came to an agreement that creates unity,
especializada para la investigación
specialized
y
for the
litigación del caso
investigation and
Ayotzinapa.
litigation of
2 días
this
después
case
yo
of
tomo posesión,
Quetzaltenango,
se me invita, acepto el
and
cargo
we're invading.
y a partir de
I'm
ese
glad
día
for the
hemos venido
invitation,
trabajando
and as of that
fuertemente
day, we've been
para
working
poner
strongly to
una
put
serie de
a
cuestiones
series of
claras sobre el
clear
caso Ayotzinapa.
questions regarding this case in
En primer
Quetzaltenango,
término,
and
toda aquella
all
acción
that
de investigación,
action and
carpetas de
investigation
investigación,
and
averiguaciones previas
files
fueron concentradas
regarding
dentro de esta unidad, lo que
investigation
permitió que
previously,
empezáramos a
which
tener una visión
gave
global
us
e
a
integral de la
global and
investigación
integral
y de todos y cada uno de
view
los
of
hechos
the
sucedidos en la
investigation
noche del
regarding
26 y
what
27 de
happened
septiembre,
the
como los
26th
hechos
of
posteriores de
September,
investigación que
as
empezaron a
also
realizarse en
the
primera fase por
the
la
first
Procuraduría
phase
Local
where they
del Estado de
started
Guerrero
to
y después
make an
por la
investigation in the
Procuraduría
state of
General de la
Guerrero,
República.
and then by the Republic.
La próxima semana
The following week,
empezaremos
we
a
will
citar
begin
a
to
todas y cada
cite
una de aquellas personas,
all those people,
funcionarios públicos,
public
que en ese
officials
entonces
that
tenían
at that
un
time
cargo,
had a charge
a rendir sus
to
declaraciones
render their
ministeriales frente a nuestra autoridad.
declarations before our panel.
A esta unidad acudirán
This
la próxima
unit
semana
will
el
begin the
exgobernador,
next week, the
el
ex-governor, the
y el secretario de Salud
ex-procurator,
Pública del
and the
Estado de
Secretary of
inmediatamente
Public Health,
estaremos
and we
convocando
will immediately be
a las autoridades e instancias federales que
putting
tuvieron
the
un primer
federal,
contacto con los hechos
also
acontecidos
the
en la noche del 26 y 27
police
de
that had
septiembre de
any
2014.
contact with those young people on those days.
Este relanzamiento de la investigación
This reinitiation
va a
of this
tocar y
investigation
va a
will
atraer a
touch
todas
and
aquellas
will
personas
bring all
que
those
formen
people
parte del
that
ámbito
formed
municipal,
part of
estatal
the
y
municipal,
federal.
state, and federal agencies of that time.
Como lo ha señalado el subsecretario Encinas,
As
hemos
the
participado e
subsecretary
incluso hemos hecho en
Encinas,
estos 3 meses
subsecretary
en los que yo
Encinas,
estoy
in the
a
last 3
cargo de
months,
esta
we have,
unidad,
since I've been in
9
charge of this
procesos
unit,
de
9
búsqueda,
processes
acciones de
of
investigación
a search
con la finalidad de
investigation with a
localizar el
final
paradero de los
goal
estudiantes.
to find
Actualmente
the
se
end
encuentra realizándose esta diligencia
resting place
ministerial
of these
en el
students,
municipio de
or their final
Tepecuacuilco, e inmediatamente se tenga algún
happening.
resultado, se informará
We expect
a
to,
la sociedad.
as soon as we have a result, we will give information to society.
Vamos a empezar
We are
por la
going to
primera línea
start
que tuvo
with the
contacto con este
first
caso.
person that had
Desde la Fiscalía no vamos a
contact
encubrir
with this.
o vamos
We,
a
as
generar
a district
e
attorney,
investigar
we will
todas
not
aquellas
cover
complicidades que se
or
dieron en el
not
mismo.
hide any of those
Estamos
complicities
investigando
that were involved.
fuertemente los actos
We are
de
are
malos
investigating,
tratos y tortura que se dieron a
investigating
y en su momento también
bad
empezaremos a
treatment
dar
and
información
torture
sobre los resultados
that
de
was
las
done to
investigaciones
people,
que se han
and we're going to
abierto
be
respecto a
giving
estas investigaciones que estamos haciendo.
giving you the results on these investigations that we are
Se están
doing.
retomando
We
todas
are
y cada una de
taking
las líneas de
all,
investigación
every line of
de los informes
investigation
del
of
grupo
the
interdisciplinario de
information
expertos independientes
from the
que estuvo trabajando en
independent
el
groups that were working in
2015-2016
2015 and 2016 regarding this case. The information from the High Charge of Human Rights and Human Rights, all commissions, and all of them, of the three levels of government, and all those authorities and groups that had any participating in the actions of that day, and also to reiterate and signal that the unit which I am heading, no one is above the law, and the law in function will find the truth regarding the actions that happened that day, and that the justice that the families are searching for regarding the events of that day. Well, yes, this is the matter for today, the topic, and we'll open up for questions.
Buenos días.
Hello.
Buenos días, Montserrat Sánchez de Reporte Índigo.
She's from Indigo,
si ya tienen
Sanchez.
confirmado y cómo lo hicieron que
If
los
you've
jóvenes
already,
nunca salieron de Guerrero y si con esta nueva búsqueda en el basurero de Tepecuacuilco ya se descarta otra búsqueda en el basurero de Cocula donde sí se había dicho que habían encontrado restos de al menos uno de los normalistas. Gracias.
Did you guys,
Bueno, todas las pruebas que hemos recaudado,
all the proof that we have gotten,
de que no hubo ninguno estudiante salió de la entidad. Por supuesto, no descartamos ninguna otra línea de
they have
investigación,
not discharged any line of investigation, but they're talking about another dumping ground that they've looked in one dumping ground and did not find any there. As I've said from the beginning, we are submitted the only truth. They have not found any truth yet. From Guerrero, in Guerrero, yesterday we found out a piece of information from an interview that was done to a leader from the crack that is in prison, where he sent a document to the President of the Republic, and he said that he has information important regarding where the bodies are found, and that you already know this information, and that he asked for security for himself and his family, and 3 presumptive implicated in the disappearance of the students. But even so, he says that the government would have to give security so that he could say where they are found, the bodies, and that they are in a place dominated by organized crime. Of course, yes, we have had contact with him. We have had information with we do have a operative team in a place of very high risk, and so there will be a judicial team that will be specialized in that group. Yes, they're familiar with him, but he is not the main guy in the case. But they will offer security to all the people involved. What about the case?
Los autores deberían ser entregados y también para el fiscal a la Corte Penal.
So they should be, they're saying that any that they find to be, they want anybody that gets found to be involved be sent to the
10 de ellos operan en Guerrero. Si no hay una solución expedita a este caso, habría posibilidad de que nuevos Lucios Cabañas, que también son egresados de Ayotzinapa,
so they're saying that there's 40 groups, delinquents, that
serían delitos de carácter imprescriptible. Pero nosotros estamos convencidos de que debe juzgarlos la justicia mexicana.
They believe that the Mexican justice needs to. What about this Institute of Rome that says that they want them to be judged here because it would take a long time in other places to judge them. What about the 43 and the parents of the 43 of Oxinapa? Can you persuade him to believe more in the version of the procurator than Murillo and the ex-president of Mexico? As I've signaled, all the authorities that were at that time had a function in the days of the acts, we're going to ask for a rendering of accounts. So the investigation, with the same objectives that are done in any investigation, we're going to comply, and we are going to take every one of the initiatives of the evidence that comes from the declarations and also previous declarations found in files, and they will be held responsible in front of justice.
Sí, gracias. Buenos días. Preguntarle
I want to ask you if you're going to call Murillo Karam, who has been giving, that is defending the historical truth. It's possible that he might be the most informed in this matter of this last 6 years. But also to ask Alejandro Encimas, how do you take these declaration? He says that they were in Cocula. After what you've done, what have you found? As I commented earlier, in the next few weeks we're going to be putting out the information that he has publicly manifested his disposal to come and to give his declaration in front of us.
Ya lo señalaba el señor fiscal, por supuesto, Murillo Karam ha mostrado su voluntad para presentarse de nueva cuenta ante la autoridad.
He has given his, he has said that he volunteers to come give his declaration. And the most important thing about the declarations he has given is that he said that at no time did they say all of them were incinerated there. It does not mean a mass murder. It means about an element that shows the vulnerability that we've had historically.
Ana Gabriela Rojas de la BBC. Muchas gracias. Buenos días.
Ana Gabriela Rojas of Advance. She wants to clarify. A while ago, the General Hertzman said, but they repeated in the media, the fiscal general, that they're going to start the investigation from zero. But at the same time, the parents of the students, that there are lines of investigation that clarify this. And on the other part, the information that you already have and that you cannot say for obvious reasons, how much confidence do you have that it will be clarified? And in what time? The District Attorney General is, you cannot just, when there's evidence of torture by public servants. So when we have the results from this process, of course, we're not only going to put all our effort to this for public and federal investigations. We hope that they will accompany us with the state governments to obtain information and international level, and the United States with the following of the telephone calls from Chicago. And we are going to do all our efforts to find the truth and that there be justice.
Gracias. Buenos días.
So, hello. From Central, the Secretary, with these new hypotheses, with these new lines of investigation that the fiscal or district attorney has, in these new processes that you're talking about for search that you're taking forth, Are they looking for them in live? Is there possible that they're alive? We have said from the beginning we have 2 lines of, and we're looking, 2 lines. We're looking for them alive, and we're also looking for them at the final resting place also.
Que si 3 meses antes de que fue transferido Gildardo Astudillo el Gil, fue transferido al reclusorio sur para intentar ejercer el principio de oportunidad para que declarara esto es
so someone they were asking. Yes, someone that was transferred to ask. I do not have the results yet. Regarding the possibility that about 27 have been attributed to the normalists that had continuous. There was recurrent. They were looked like they were continuously. They had 80 million, yes, 80 million calls by telephone that we've been reviewing.
Rocío Méndez, Noticias MBS.
She's from the parents were very dissatisfied because at the beginning they've classified it as a kidnapping. And how have you identified it as a? Yes, they said. So yes, they did a forced disappearance by agents of the Mexican government. From Oro Solido. At its time, there was controversy regarding the how much was given to the representatives of human rights and how much was paid to them, and what did they tell you, and in what condition are they, and are you going to be paying them, and was there any contract signed or agreement signed, and can we know about it? Yes, it's public dominion. We did not contract the specialists. They are done by the Telemerican. There's other funds. They have to do it with their own mechanism. And they establish the times that they're going to be doing with meeting with a specialist. So the information that they gave you regarding the treatment that they had with the previous, it's the attitude that the government had previously to them. There will be no limitation for their professional activity. I have a few questions. With what you've done in this investigations, according to your calculations, when will we have a concrete response to the parents as to where their children are? As soon as we have it, whenever we have it, we will give it. There is no date. Next, can you give us more information as to who is Alejandro? Yes, he is one of the principal. He is one of the ones that we are looking for and has not been detained. That's the guy they offered 10 million for the municipal police. For the district attorney, how important has the information been that they've given you from the local authorities? The ex-president and the people that were, the information that we have now during to investigation, they have already be here before to give declaration. It's going to be amplification as witnesses. All the information that they've given us will be crisscrossed with information that is already in the previous files. And part of our job of the district attorney is to analyze all the information, to have declarations that are more complete and more clear regarding the development as functioning officials they had during those days. So either one, he's not sure who's going to be able to answer, the district attorney or the secretary. What about the ex-police of Iguala and the people that were involved in the so someone is asking, someone someone that is already in jail. They are accusing that they were tortured in order to obtain the declarations as to where the students were. This would be a, are you aware of this, that these people that are in jail that were tortured, that they not liberate them like they did with another group of police previously? That these liberations have been watching in the past few days, and that was done as that had a request that had been put in. So they've had judicial something about this tribunal, that there were irregularities from the detentions, the putting at disposition, and the allegations of torture and bad treatment, which means that there was a series of irregularities and crimes that were done against these people. What it meant was liberty. So that's consequence of that resolution. What we are doing now is finality to provide new proof, so that we can detail, that we consider will reunite significant proof for the people that are being accused. What we are going to do, and what is important, that possibly people that have come out doesn't mean that they are not excluded to rendering accounting in front of justice. What we are doing is getting new evidence to give new if these people that came out are responsible of acts on omissions, they will be called again in order to give an accounting before the tribunal. Are they able to be located? What we are doing is an investigation. First, we got to do a clear, objective case that is not illicit, because that's what was happening. In front of that, we'll put our accusations here in Mexico, and we will localize them or locate them and put them in, bring them in. What about ex-functioning officials? That is, like, let's say a little higher. Are they going to ask? Are they going to be calling Peña Nieto so he can give what he can give? Yes, we've already signaled all those authorities that had a charge in that time. No one is above the law. And if it's necessary from the investigation, it doesn't matter who it is. They will be called before justice. So they were asking if the president, ex-president himself would be called, and he said yes, anybody.
Buenos días.
So hello.
Eduardo Esquivel.
Eduardo Esquivel.
Grupo
from the group SDP. Economical analysis. I want to ask, well, first of all, and I wish with all my heart that they find the youth alive, and I hope that you are fortunate with that, and that we all have that fortune. What I would like to ask, how is the federal government planning so that these acts not be repeated? We know that the state of Guerrero is one of the poor, impoverished, with an tremendous inequality. So what plans are there so that they can stop the violence in that state on behalf of the federal government and the state government, and as a social service? And if there are plans to legalize the cultivation of poppy for medical terms, because some of these products are being used in the hospitals. So, what plans are there to stop all this?
El punto de partida para garantizar la no repetición de estos hechos violatorios de los derechos humanos es conocer la verdad.
The point is, we want to find the truth and make justice and stop with impunity. The case is paradigmical. That has to be a before and after, but it's a state of liberty in our country, and it's very important that we understand and advance in this president, which would be extensive to all the human rights in our country. Regarding the legalization regarding marijuana, and let's remember that there is a reform, legal, that permits the use of medicinal of marijuana, for which we have now permissions with regulated cultivation. It will have to be, I'm talking about heroin or poppy. Yes, there is a, that is being discussed in the Congress. Thank you, and hello. With all respect to the parents and their terrible pain that they've been feeling. So how large is this machination? How many minds, this terrible bad, can they conjugate to make this a coordinated group? The question is, how large is this mystery and this terrible enigma? And what can we expect? Like a commission that was supposed to be was able to clarify what happened with Kennedy in '63. So what time does, or how big is the government? How big is the monstrosity of this? Yes, it's enormous. It transcends even the people that perpetuated these crimes. Here it's a conjugation of all the bad culminations that we've inherited with this corruption, omissions, and the silence that society has done. That's why it's important to transcend, to get to the bottom of these acts, because this will be the final end to the previous regimen, and it will bring peace to our country.
Buenos días.
Hello.
Mi nombre es Mario Alberto Segura.
My name is Mario Alberto Segura from Portal El Sol, from Tamaulipas.
Pues me siento muy solidario.
I feel very have solidarity with the youth of Guantanapa, but I want to tell you, I, as a citizen from Tamaulipas, I have a lot of uneasiness from the people. As a voice for the people, I want to ask you this special case from Guantanapa, but in Tamaulipas we have thousands of people that have disappeared. What is happening with this situation in Tamaulipas? There has been a few days, and I want to tell you, because I'm with a fourth transformation, we have to signal things that are not well so that you can be correcting them. A few days ago, I asked the president, and with what is happening in Buena Vista from municipality of Hidalgo, and I appreciate. I've been working with Alejandro, and I told him that I did not want to confront anybody like the previous government, that they say, yeah, everything's good, and then they don't do anything. So the new president said something. He did not know of this situation. And I asked myself, why? Why did the president not know? But if you and Tamaulipas and several authorities, we've actually told you personally what is happening since a few months ago. But if the president is not aware, then there's two things. If he's aware, he lied to me. And if he's not aware, then you are not functioning. And this is bad, because peace, justice for the peace. In that place, there is no peace and there is no justice. So I would like to know what is happening. And I have another matter, because I'm a newspaper man. from 2012, I was kidnapped, and I have been on protection because there's a lot of people that have been from the. I was the first newsman that was in the Protective Act. So defenders of rights, which has two elements that are efficient. In my case, does not advance from 2012 to this date. I have a ministry for 5 months has not even read my file. And like that, there's a lot of cases. If they don't resolve mine, which was in 2012, can you imagine, Mr. President, how are they going to resolve the current cases? The fiscals or district attorneys, we're not against them, but they have a lot of work. So there's 2 points I would like to address and be told. What is going to be happening? Because today in October, I'm going to be meeting with the district attorney because they say that he does not order the investigation. And he says they can't go to Tamaulipas because they're afraid. But I live there. So we are all there afraid to be there. So I would like for you to help me with this. I like these questions because no matter what you answer, you are wrong. But there's not 2 questions, there's 3. Yes, we have talked with you and the people that are affected in the. We have permanent contact, and due to the instructions, we are doing the follow-up. Like the President said in the past, we are very close. And the mechanism, yes, we are redesigning the that will be on the 1st of October. We're in phases. And regarding the official district attorney, he will have to give that in response regarding that.
Buenos días, presidente. Rafael Herrera, corresponsal de Sin Censura,
Rafael Herrera,
fiscal especial. Habla de Chicago.
You're speaking of Chicago. Are there people implicated in Chicago?
¿Hay más implicados?
Or is there more implicated? Have you already found other responsible parties? And is there
Alejandro que se trata de una desaparición forzada por el Estado mexicano?
So someone was talking about a forced disappearance by the state of the Mexican government. What information do you have in the U.S. or what information is crossing and in what levels? And what are you giving this level? Are you giving this information? Yes, there is a process open with Guerreros Unidos in the United States, and we're redefining this in a phase. Something happened last week that allows us. So they're saying this is not the case that we're having. Is they're participating as protected groups and they're being protected in that country. They're witnesses. I want to let you know the commitment of the government and the community for, as the President has been told us, we are not going to stop until we find justice and the truth.
Bueno,
so,
como epílogo de
as an epilogue
esta
of this
comparecencia de este informe,
of this information,
decir que
I want to say that
hay voluntad
there is
del gobierno
a
de la
will
República
of the government and the Republic
esclarecer
to clarify
estos hechos,
these acts,
conocer la verdad,
to know the truth,
encontrar
and
a
to
los
find the
jóvenes
youth,
y
and
que haya justicia.
that there be justice.
Tenemos
We have
una gran ventaja.
a great advantage.
No hay impunidad.
There is no impunity.
Eso
that is
importantísimo.
Very important.
Porque cuando se trata de crímenes de Estado,
when it becomes to crimes of state,
es muy difícil
it is very difficult
llegar a la verdad.
To get to the truth.
Sí.
Yes.
Se mantiene
they maintain
el acuerdo
an agreement
de que impere la versión del Estado.
They want the version of the state to be emperor.
No hay impunidad,
but if there's no impunity or rule, then the whole government and the Republic and state of Mexicans acts
para conocer los hechos.
To know the acts or the truth of the behaviors. We speak of how they are participating with the army or the military. They are participating, all of them, all the institutions.
Y no hay ningún obstáculo.
And there is no obstacle
para contar con
in order to count with investigators, observers, international observers. We have open door policy to the country in order to help to clarify this matter. And I take advantage of this opportunity to let you call out to those that have any information regarding this matter. Please help us. Like Alejandro mentioned, Encinas, it is more than a simple illicit act of a crime. It's a matter that's fundamental for justice, for respect to human rights, for the strengthening of the institutions of the Mexican states. It would be a great contribution that they help, that someone helps to know where the young people wound up. Anyone that knows something, not only will they have their material financial gain, but it will also be a service of number one order to the help of Mexico. And our commitment to protect those that inform, to give them financial gain and protect them, and also, if it is required, we will help them if they are implicated. I sustain that without forgiveness it is more difficult to make justice a reality. I say this, or do I forget or not? Forget not, yes, but forgive, yes. And that they help us. This is a message
los que
for those
seguramente
that surely
saben,
know.
hay
There are
muchos que saben.
many that know.
Y por eso tengo confianza.
And for that reason I am confident that we will find the truth. We will know the truth.
El que informe
And the one that informs
tiene toda la protección
will have all the protection
del Estado.
of the state.
Toda la protección del Estado.
All the protection of the
Todo el
state.
apoyo
All the support
del gobierno.
from the government.
Por eso
And that is why
no pierdo las esperanzas.
I do not lose the hope.
Estoy optimista.
I am optimistic.
Creo que vamos
I believe that we are going to
darles buenas noticias a las
give
familias.
good news to the family members.
No lo descarto.
I do not discard
No
that.
me doy por vencido.
I do not feel that I have been
Al contrario, creo que vamos a lograr.
that I have lost. On the contrary, I feel that we are going to do it. We're going to get to the truth.
Porque,
Why?
insisto,
Because I
si
insist
no hay
that if
protección,
there is no protection,
si no hay complicidad,
if there's no
si no hay
complicity,
contubernio
if there's no controversy
de las autoridades
from the authorities
con quienes participaron
with those that
en estos
participated in these acts,
hechos, se tiene que saber.
then it has to be known.
El que estemos aquí,
The fact that we are here informing you,
pues demuestra eso.
it demonstrates that.
¿Qué hubiese pasado
What would have happened
si hubiese
if there had been,
ganado
if
otro
someone,
candidato?
if the other candidate would have won?
Cualquier otro.
Any other candidate.
Se estaría
Would he
reabriendo la
be
investigación
reopening the investigation?
y reponiéndose
Would
el
he be
procedimiento,
restarting the investigation,
asunto?
attending to the matter?
Entonces,
So therefore,
sí,
yes,
vamos a poder
we are going to be able to
llegar a la verdad.
get
Soy
to the truth.
optimista
I am
y
optimistic and I
a
want to
todos
appreciate
su apoyo
all your support
y desde luego nuestro
and of course our
afecto sincero a los
affection
padres,
and
madres,
sincerely
los
to the
jóvenes.
parents of the young people.
No hay
There is no
limitaciones
limitations,
ni materiales.
no materially.
Es decir,
That is to say,
no faltan recursos.
there is no lack of resources.
Está dada la instrucción
I have given the
de
instruction
que
that
participe todo el gobierno,
the
todos los
government
recursos que sean
participate
necesarios.
with all the resources
Alejandro
necessary.
está contando con
Alejandro
todo
is
el
counting
apoyo
on all the support
que se requiere
that is required
y felicitar a quienes
and
están
to
trabajando
congratulate those that are working
el esclarecimiento de estos
in the
hechos,
clarification of these
agradecerle
acts,
mucho a la
and to
Fiscalía General
appreciate very much to the
Está,
Attorney General that is
trabajando, le
working
tenemos confianza
hard, and we have confidence
a la Fiscalía General,
to the District
a
Attorney
la
General
Fiscalía Especial
and
del
the
caso
Fiscal
Ayotzinapa,
General for this the
y
person assigned
yo
to this
tengo el
case.
compromiso con las madres,
And I
con
have the
los padres,
commitment
y
with the
estamos
parents,
reuniendo
and we're meeting
periódicamente,
periodically.
cada 2-3 meses,
Every 2 to 3 months,
voy a tener reunión
I'm
aquí
going to have a meeting
con
here
ellos
with them
para evaluar,
in order to
para estar
evaluate,
evaluando.
to be
Y
evaluating.
no quiero
And I do not
que
want
sean, reuniones
that they be meetings
de todo el gobierno, de todo el
from the
sexenio.
whole government or for the
Quiero
whole
que
6
sean
years.
pocas
I want them to be a few,
para encontrarnos
so
y
we can find
es
each
posible,
other,
pero en las
and
comunidades, en los pueblos
like in the
allá,
communities maybe out
ya,
there,
resuelto este
with this case already resolved,
y
and
aquí
this
vamos
matter is resolved.
entre todos a seguirle dando
And we will
seguimiento.
all together be
Pues muy
following
bien,
this
este
case.
es el
So
caso de
thank you very
Ayotzinapa.
much. This is the
Vamos
case
a
of
continuar
Ayotzinapa,
con él,
and we'll continue with it,
con este asunto. Y ahora
with
sí,
this
si les
matter.
parece,
And if,
abrimos
now, if you would like,
para
we'll
lo
open
general.
up,
No hay
open up the
pendientes de-
general if there's nothing pending.
¿No hay listo?
Do you have a list?
¿Por qué no se? Es que yo ya me acostumbré.
He says, I'm just accustomed to standing. You go ahead and sit down.
Carlos Pozos. Adelante.
Jefe del Estado mexicano, Carlos Pozos, reportero de Petróleo y Energía.
He's
Buenos días
Carlos
a quienes
Pozos
nos
from
ven y a quienes nos escuchan.
Energía.
Primero una denuncia
First
en la
to,
Dirección de Finanzas de Pemex.
regarding
Bajo
the
la orden de Alberto
finances
Velázquez,
of
hay corrupción.
Pemex, there's corruption.
Esto se lo digo, presidente.
This I tell
Estuve
you,
en
Mr.
Villahermosa,
President,
Tabasco,
because I was
el
in
lunes y el
Villahermosa,
martes de esta semana.
Tabasco.
Me encontré a
I
empresarios
found
quienes denuncian
businessmen
que en la sesión de
that have
derechos
said that in
bancarios
the
para
banking
que las compañías se
sessions,
puedan fondear o
that
puedan financiarse,
in
solo
order
se
for
está
the
dando a
companies,
recomendados y
they are
amigos.
only letting their
Igual
friends
existe
get
un
in,
mercado negro
and they have a black market
para el pronto pago
so that they can get paid
de
quickly
proveedores de Pemex
for
que
providers
fluctúa
for
entre un 10
Pemex,
y un 20%
which is 10 to
para que
20%, so that they
de
can,
esa
so you
situación
can know about
que
the
se da en varios
situation
medios.
that is happening,
Sí.
Mr.
Vamos
President.
a investigar.
We'll investigate that,
Te informamos.
and we'll
Y les
inform you,
informamos a todos.
and we will inform everyone.
Ese es el compromiso.
That is the
Mi primera
commitment.
pregunta, presidente.
My first question, Mr. President.
En el año de 1960,
In the
México
year
vivió uno de los
1960,
momentos históricos más importantes.
Mexico lived an
El 1 de
historical
septiembre
moment. The 1st of
de ese
September
entonces,
of that
el
year,
presidente
of
Adolfo
that
López
time,
Mateos
Adolfo
anunció en
López
su
announced
segundo informe la nacionalización de la
the
industria eléctrica,
nationalization of the
en
electrical
donde el SME
industry,
de ese tiempo
where
apoyó
at
la
that time
demanda, la
he supported
medida.
the
El
coming
gobierno mexicano
of them.
entró en posesión de las plantas, instalaciones, redes
The
de
government
distribución
took
e infraestructura
the
el
infrastructure
27 de septiembre
the
de hace
27th
59 años. Mañana se
September.
cumplen
Yesterday
59
would have
años
been, next
de la
year,
nacionalización
tomorrow
de la
will be
industria eléctrica,
59
presidente.
days, years
Durante
since
los
the
gobiernos del PRIAN,
electric
PRD,
industry.
se dieron más de 1,000 permisos para generación de
given-
capitales privados.
They've
Y el
given
11
more than 1,000 permits for
de
privatization,
octubre del
and the
2009
11th of 2009,
se dio el golpe de
they gave
liquidación
the
a la
state of
compañía de luz y
liquidation
fuerza del
of
centro
light
con un despido de
with,
44,000
they let go
trabajadores del SME.
44,000
Como
workers.
resultado
As a result
de este desmantelamiento
of
del
this
sector eléctrico,
dismantling
presidente,
of the electric sector,
actualmente
actually,
el sector público genera
the
el
public,
56%
now the
de
public
electricidad
sector
y el
only
sector privado
does
solamente el 44%.
56% of the
Pero
electricity,
quienes despojaron,
but those that were
a México de la electricidad
given away
ahora
our
son
electricity
parte
are part
del
of the
Consejo de Administración
accounting
de
of
transnacionales,
now
como el
part
expresidente
of
Felipe
the
Calderón,
Calderón
la exsecretaria de
and
Energía
ex-secretary
Georgina Kessel,
Josina Kessel
Ernesto Martens,
and Ernesto
Federico
Martins,
Canales
Federico
Clarion y otros
Canales
más
Clarion,
terminaron en las nóminas
that
de
were
empresas
involved in
paraestatales
selling
de
and giving
empresas
away this
transnacionales como
property,
Sempra y
and
Verdola
now they're in Verdola
Y
Energy,
resulta
and as
que
it
el
results,
líder obrero
the
Martínez
leader,
Barza
Martínez Barza
mutó
Flores,
de líder
he was
a
the
empresario.
leader, became the
La
leader
pregunta es esta, presidente.
of the business.
¿En cuánto tiempo todos
And
los
how much
mexicanos
time will all the
tendrán
Mexicans
energía
have
eléctrica?
electric
Y
energy?
si considera usted
And do you
que ya
consider
hemos dejado
that we have
de
allowed
vivir en la penumbra
to stop
de la historia?
living in the darkness of history?
Bueno, nosotros estamos fortaleciendo
We are fortifying
tanto a Pemex como a la
Pemex
Comisión
and
Federal
the Electric
de
Commission.
Electricidad. Y vamos a
And we are
rescatar
going
estas
to
dos
rescue
empresas que
these
son
two companies
fundamentales
which are fundamental.
y
And The principal thing is that to clean them out of corruption. So yes, your first part announcement will be attended to. And I celebrate that you signal these people out, even without having proof or evidence, solid proof. If there's initiations of corruption, you need to let us know. You need to let someone know. And the authority will inform if they exist evidence. But it's better that you let people know, especially in this case. And that is why zero corruption, zero impunity. And whoever helps us so that there will not be corruption, not even in Pemex or the Electrical Commission, nor in the government. The case of the privatizations they came to this failure of political economics, that which in effect has been 20 or 25 years. The Federal Commission of Electricity used to be a company that was efficient, that was doing well, that was enough for the whole country. And all of a sudden they started this campaign talking about how we were going to run out of electricity and that the Federal Commission had no resources, nor the country, and that we needed to privatize. That they did a little before with telephones in Mexico, the same way. They did this whole campaign that, oh, our service was so bad of telephones. They did it afterwards with the airlines. And they even had protests from Mexican and Aeromexico. And at the end of it, so now we have no airlines from the public sector because they sold them. And the same thing with the telephones of Mexico and the banks. And they advanced a lot in the privatization of the electric company. And we've talked about this here before. And now we've stopped that type of politics. It does not. That is not our politics that we apply now. We no longer have privatization. We are respecting the contracts that have been subscribed to previously because we want to act in a responsible way. But we will not continue to give contracts or concessions for public services to privatize. Look for it in the dictionary. It means to convert that which is public into something private. That politics, no more. It will not be continued to be imposed on Mexico. And we are recovering Pemex and the electric company, and we're doing very well in both cases. And we're doing it with the support of the workers of Pemex and and the support of the technicians. For example, in the case of the Federal Commission of Electricity, we have increased the generation. Here, it was explained by the engineer Morales Mar only due to the politics of maintenance, which was not being applied. The purpose was to close all the plants from the Federal Commission of Electricity in order to they could advance this with the control of the market, the private industry, the private companies. And if they had continued with the same politics at the end of this 6-year term, it would not be 54-46, the proportion. It would have been, it would be 75% private and 25 commission federal. So they would have practically liquidated the Federal Commission, and that has been halted. And now we are fortifying, investing in the Federal Commission of Electricity. So therefore, to say to the people that we will not have a shortage, electric energy, and it's secured, and we will not increase the price of electricity in real terms. They've indexed the price of light to inflation. If inflation is 3% annually, that will be the increase in the payment of electricity. And now it was an inflation in a period, I believe they told me since August, in 15 days, 2.99%, and that's the lowest in a period in 3 years. So it's below 3 inflation. So that is the amount that they will add only. And in the case of the salaries, it will never be below the increase under inflation. It always will be above it, above inflation. So you will not be short of electricity, and you will not have increases in the tariffs from electric energy. About 2 days ago here, we had someone that came from Nayarit, and they did some kind of request that yesterday we resolved it regarding the tariffs of electric energy in Nayarit. What she proposed, that they were tariffs that were high. Now they've come to an agreement with the government of the state of Nayarit, the Federal Commission of Electricity. The chief of the nation. It hasn't been that the Senate had approved the general approved education. They said that education went to the trash. Is it the general law of education? Is this the crown jewel? Will this give us space for the new education of the future? Let's see if we could. I would like. These are the best. These professionals of the communication. Not only technicians, also.
a lo mejor encontramos la carta
Perhaps we
de
can
Adolfo
find the
López
letter
Mateos,
from Adolfo López Mateos
cuando la nacionalización
when the
de la
nationalization
industria
of the industry,
eléctrica.
of the
Van a
electrical
ver qué
industry.
carta.
You will see what a letter.
A ver si alguien pasa.
Let's see if someone
Y la
passes and reads it.
La ponemos en pantalla.
And we'll put it on the screen.
Miren
Look at how
cómo actuaba un buen presidente.
a good president behaved. We'll look at it
Pero
right
bueno,
now. But first,
lo de la reforma
regarding the reform
educativa,
of
ya
education,
hemos hablado,
we've already talked,
fue un avance.
was an
Siempre
advancement.
hay oposición.
Always there's opposition.
Hablando del presidente López Mateos,
Speaking of
él
President
inició
López
con la
Mateos,
entrega de los libros de texto.
he initiated with
hubo
the
oposición.
delivery of the
Los
text,
conservadores entonces
and the conservatives of
no
that
querían
time didn't want it.
que se entregaran los libros
They
de
didn't
texto.
want to give the textbooks to the children.
Y
And
se logró
they gained
establecer la entrega de
establishing
libros de texto
the
gratuitos.
textbooks free to the people.
Entonces éramos niños
So we were children at that time, and we started to get these
en el pueblo,
in the
esos
town,
libros.
these books,
Cuando el presidente
when President
López
López Mateo
Entonces,
was in
cada vez
office.
que hay
So
una
every
reforma,
time there's a reform,
pues hay oposición.
there's
Esto
opposition
es consustancial a la democracia.
that is
Ahora
part of
están
democracy.
inconformes
And now they're
los
not
que
happy,
habían apoyado
those that had supported
la reforma
the
anterior
reform
que se
previously.
dio en otras
That was
circunstancias.
also in different
Esa
circumstances.
reforma
That reform
que se aprobó
that was approved
en el gobierno
in the
anterior
previous government
es parte de la
is
agenda
part of the agenda
que se imponía a
that they
México
imposed
desde el
on
extranjero.
Mexico from the foreign countries.
Es parte
It's
de las
part
llamadas reformas
of the
estructurales.
structural reform
Es una
that was
historia.
imposed upon us. This is a whole
Si se hace
story.
la investigación,
If you do the investigation,
se va a conocer
you will know
que
and find
la política
that the
neoliberal
politics, neoliberal
imponía
politics, was being
a
imposed
otros países
on other countries
desde
from
las sedes
the
de los organismos financieros
from
internacionales.
international organizations, from the entrails.
La agenda
So the
que
agenda
se aplicó en
they
México
applied in Mexico
durante 30 años
for 30 years
o más
or more
venía de
was coming and being sent
Afuera.
from outside.
empezaron con las cartas de
They
intención
started with these letters of intention
donde
where they
aprovechando de
they
que
took
México,
advantage of Mexico
cayó en crisis
that was in crisis, had fallen into
principios de los
crisis
80,
in the 80s.
empezaron a
They started
condicionar los
to
apoyos
condition the supports
a que se aplicara en
that they
México
apply in
una,
Mexico,
determinada
a
política
determined type of politics.
y se tenían que firmar esas cartas de
And they
intención
had to sign these letters of intention
para que
in
México
order to let
pudiera
Mexico
obtener
obtain
créditos,
credit,
financiamiento.
financing.
Así empezó.
And that's how it
Y
began.
luego se generalizó
And then
ya
they generalized
esta agenda
this agenda.
y ahí
And then they
se
started
definió
defining
la política
the
fiscal,
fiscal
la
politics,
política sendaria,
the
la política energética,
energy, and
la política
the
laboral,
labor, energy,
la política
the politics for
educativa.
education.
En esa agenda.
In that agenda,
Entonces, nosotros ya no vamos a
So
seguir
then we are not going to do that anymore. We're not going to follow that agenda.
Les recuerdo porque a
I
veces
remind you because
se
sometimes
da la información
you give the information
y no se internaliza.
and it's not internalized.
O hay otras cosas.
Or there are other things. But
se definió el cambio.
They defined the change with lots of clarity
en el programa de desarrollo, en el plan de
in the
desarrollo
program of development
que se presentó al
that
Congreso.
was presented to Congress.
Si ustedes leen
If you read that plan of development, it no longer has anything to do with the plans of development from the previous ones. Now it's a new politic that is being applied. Yes, I expect that it be understood that the previous educational reform was not bettering education, but instead it was polarizing, it was causing confrontations, and it was not bettering the quality. You can show it? Can someone read that? Because he reads slow. Oh, he says you don't need glasses.
Sí, la carta de Adolfo López Mateos a la patria, escrita el 27 de septiembre de 1960 en el acto de nacionalización de la industria
It was
eléctrica.
1960 regarding the
Pueblo de México,
people of Mexico.
les devuelvo la energía eléctrica
I'm
que es de la
returning to
exclusiva
you
propiedad de la nación,
to
pero no
to
se
you.
confíen, porque en años futuros
Okay, this is
algunos malos
interesting.
mexicanos identificados con las peores causas del
Okay, this is very interesting. He's saying, "Dear people of Mexico, I am returning to you the electric company which is exclusive property of Mexico. But please don't get overconfident because in the future there's going to be some elements
país
from country
intentarán
that will
por medios
intend
sutiles
by
entregar
you
de nuevo el
to
petróleo.
they will attempt to give again the petroleum
Y nuestros recursos a los inversionistas
and our resources to investors.
extranjeros. Ni un paso atrás fue la
To foreign investors. Let's not take a single step backwards.
consigna de don Lázaro Cárdenas del Río al
Because it's by consignment of Lázaro Cárdenas. I don't know why this makes me so upset. That these companies have ripped off our country, have ripped off Mexico so, and that they've allowed it to happen.
nacionalizar nuestro petróleo.
They want to nationalize our
a la
petroleum,
energía eléctrica.
and they want to turn the electric energy into a fortune.
Pueblo de México,
People of
los
Mexico,
dispenso de toda obediencia a sus futuros gobernantes que pretenden
I forgive you of any governing of in the future
entregar nuestros recursos energéticos a intereses ajenos
that will be trying to give our natural resources to foreign investors.
a la nación que conformamos.
That is for the nation that we form.
Una cosa obvia es que México requiere de varios años de evolución tecnológica.
One obvious thing is that Mexico requires lots of evolution and technical knowledge.
Y una eficiencia administrativa para lograr nuestra independencia energética.
And a administrative efficiency in order to gain our electrical independence.
Sería necio afirmar que México no requiere de la capacitación tecnológica.
It would be silly to say that Mexico does not require assistance with technical energy.
Materia eléctrica y petrolera.
With petroleum and electric matters.
Y para ello, ningún extranjero necesita convertirse en accionista de las empresas públicas.
And for that, no foreigner needs to become a delegate for foreign investors
para apoyarnos.
To support
Solo
us.
Un traidor entrega su
Only a traitor would turn over
país a los
their
extranjeros.
country to foreign people.
Los mexicanos podemos hacer todo mejor que cualquier
Mexicans can do everything better than anyone
otro país.
Any other country.
Cuando un gobernante extranjero me pregunta si hay posibilidad.
When a foreign government asks me if there's a possibility
Entrar en el negocio de los energéticos o a
to come into the business of energy resources
electricidad,
and electricity,
le respondo que apenas estamos independizándonos de
that we are barely starting to become independent
las invasiones extranjeras
from foreign invasions
nos vaciaron el país.
That emptied out our country.
Sigue.
Continue.
Sigue más largo.
Sí.
Yes, there is more. So he's got to look it up.
Hay un párrafo.
There's a paragraph that I think is the one that follows.
Nosotros, a eso, a ver.
He says, you read it. You read it.
Pero en tanto los mexicanos, si
But
queremos
as
invertir
to
en
the
el petróleo
Mexicans,
americano o en su producción de energía eléctrica, por si quieren un socio extranjero. En México la Constitución es muy clara.
In Mexico, the Constitution is very clear. If we want to invest,
Los recursos energéticos y los yacimientos petroleros son
so that the electric and petroleum resources are
propiedad única y exclusiva del pueblo mexicano.
That belong exclusively to the people of Mexico.
El resto de las especulaciones al respecto.
The rest of speculations respecting that
son traición a la patria.
Are traitorous behavior to our country.
Industrializar el país no implica una subasta pública.
To industrialize our country does not mean public auction
Nuestros recursos naturales
of our natural resources
y la entrega indiscriminada del patrimonio de la patria.
Or to give away our inheritance that belongs to our country. Wow.
Bueno, pues ahí está la respuesta.
Yes, there's the response.
Pero
but you can see that was López Mateos.
Pues muchas gracias.
Muy respetado.
Well, thank you. And he was very respected as a president.
Cuando vino
when he came,
Kennedy,
when President Kennedy came,
le dio un trato de mucho respeto.
He gave a treatment of much respect.
Le trajo
and he brought him as a gift, among other things,
un grabado
a recording
Presidente Juárez, que
from Presidente Juárez, which they had in the United States.
Y yo encontré
and I found
retrato
that
grabado,
picture that was engraved.
Y lo tengo en la oficina,
and I have it in my office
de esa visita.
From that visit.
Es un buen presidente de México.
He was a good president of Mexico. He was a good president of Mexico.
Yo diría
like I would say,
Cortines,
like also Cortines, Adolfo,
luego,
and then of course Lázaro Cárdenas.
Ya, otros, pues,
but then others, you know, each one had their, you can have their opinion on the others.
Adelante.
So next.
Bueno, aquí está la lista.
So here it is, the list.
Y luego Pedro Hernández.
Gracias, presidente. Arturo Páramo, Grupo Imagen, subsecretario. Fiscal,
from Grupo Imagen.
Ayer en el Senado de la República se frenó una vez más la discusión sobre la revocación del mandato.
they
la
stopped
oposición puso
the
varios peros y se hicieron también propuestas. Primero
mandate,
que
and they made
el presidente no
proposals
tendría la facultad de
that
convocar a una revocación de mandato, sería
the president would not be able to
únicamente
revoke
ciudadana
mandation,
y
that it
no
would have to
lo
be
organizaría
a
tampoco el
petition from the
gobierno,
people,
sino que sería el INE y los
and that
organismos
the
locales
INE and the
electorales.
local
Su opinión,
electoral.
presidente,
So what
sigue
is your
retrasando su
opinion?
postura
Does it
de llevar a cabo
continue to
legalmente la revocación de mandato.
the
¿Qué piensa acerca de
revocation of mandate?
este nuevo retraso?
What do you think about this new
Bueno,
delay?
pues que, no sé
I don't know
a qué le tienen miedo
what they're afraid of
los de la oposición. Lo
from the
digo
opposition.
de forma respetuosa.
I say it in a respectful way.
En la democracia es el
In
pueblo el que
democracy,
decide,
it's
el
the
pueblo
people
pone, el
that
pueblo
decides,
quita.
the people
Es un
removes.
derecho
It's a right
que está establecido en la
that is
Constitución.
established in the Constitution.
El pueblo tiene en todo
The
momento
people has in any moment
el derecho a
the
cambiar la
right
forma
to change
de
the
su
form
gobierno.
of its government.
Eso lo establece la Constitución.
That is established in the
Y esa
Constitution.
es la esencia de
That
la
is the
democracia
essence of
participativa.
democracy, participative.
Entonces lo que queremos dejar
So
establecido
what we want to leave established
es
is that
de que mediante
That
la revocación del mandato
via the revocation of mandate,
los ciudadanos
the
puedan
citizen can then
mantener o quitar
maintain
a una
or
autoridad.
remove an authority.
Es un
That is
elemento
a
fundamental de la democracia.
fundamental element of democracy.
Entonces, primero,
So first,
que no se hiciera la
that they
consulta
not be
el mismo
consulting
día de la
the same
elección.
day of the election.
A mí me preguntaron por qué
They
yo
asked me
presenté la
why I
iniciativa.
presented
Dije,
the
"Está
initiative."
bien,
Yes, that's fine.
que se adelante,
Get that ahead.
que se le pregunte
Ask them
a
ahead.
la gente en
Ask
el
the people
21.
on the 21st.
Incluso propuse
And I even proposed
domingo 21 de
that
marzo.
on
El
the
21.
Sunday, the 21st of
Dijeron no.
March, no.
O sea, ya no es la elección,
No,
es
that's not
antes
the
de la
election. It has to be before the election.
elección. Ya después les
So
planteé,
then I
después
said, what about
de la
after
elección
of the election?
del 21.
After the 21st.
Y tampoco
And
aceptan.
they didn't accept that either.
Acerca de que la
So regarding
elección la
the election
organice el
that is
INE,
being organized
no
by
hay
INE,
problema.
there's no problem.
Eso yo no me opongo.
I don't oppose myself to that.
Y si no la solicita,
And if they don't solicit it,
el presidente,
the
que
president,
no tenga derecho
or who does not have a right to solicit the
pues
president
que
in
sean los
turn,
ciudadanos
let it be the citizens.
también.
Also,
Yo lo único que voy a
the only
pedir a la
thing
gente
I'm going to ask the people is
ayuden, ¿no?
help
a que haya democracia
that there be a democracy
participativa.
that's participative.
Organícense
Organize
y
yourselves,
pídanle ustedes
and you ask for it.
y ya.
And there.
Pero lo importante
But the important part
es que haya
is
revocación
that
de
there
mandato.
be revocation of mandate, because
No tiene por qué el pueblo
the people
soportar
does not
tanto
need to
tiempo
tolerate so
a una
much
mala
time
autoridad.
with a bad authority.
Se elige
So
por
you
6
elect them
años.
for 6 years.
¿Qué no a los 3 ya se sabe?
So by 3 years, don't you already know
Si sirve o no
if they
sirve.
are good or no good?
¿Por qué darle
Why
más
give
tiempo?
them more time?
Ya
So now,
no funcionó. Se
if it
dedicó
didn't work, we've devoted, he's
robar.
dedicated himself to stealing.
No trabaja.
He doesn't work.
Es un autoritario,
He's authoritarian.
represor.
He's a repressor.
Existe un procedimiento
There's a procedure that's legal,
democrático
that's
de
democratic,
consulta.
and a consult,
la revocación del
and then
mandato.
the revocation of
Dice,
mandate.
quiero que siga.
And then this, what if the citizen says,
No.
I want him to stay in
Que
place?
se vaya.
No, he has to go.
Eso es lo mejor que puede haber.
That's the best thing there could be.
Porque si no,
Because if not,
ya me eligieron,
they've elected me,
ahora
now
se aguantan.
they're going to have to tolerate me.
¿Por qué?
Why?
Están actuando
If they're acting
con poca reflexión,
with very little reflection,
los legisladores
these legislators
que se oponen,
that are opposing this.
que esto no
Because this should not
ser
be,
motivo
not be a motive
para rechazar la
to
iniciativa.
revoke the initiative.
Lo otro es
The other
pedirles
thing is to ask them
también ya
that they
resuelvan
now resolve
lo de
regarding
la consulta
the consult,
ciudadana.
the citizen consult,
El que
that,
si hay
that if there is
una solicitud,
a request or
ahora, por
complaint,
ejemplo,
say for example today,
no quieren que se haga
they don't want there to
el
be
aeropuerto.
an airport,
En vez de
but instead of
estar
putting all these
con sabotajes
sabotages,
legales,
legal sabotages,
si hay
if there is a
consultas,
consults
lo permite el
and
artículo
the
35
Article
de la
35
Constitución,
permits
para
it of
eso
the
la reforma,
Constitution, that's why the reform,
se juntan
you can get together
firmas, se
signatures
acreditan
and they accredit them,
y a preguntarle al pueblo.
and then you ask the people.
En la democracia el pueblo
In democracy, the
manda, el
people
pueblo decide.
are rulers, the people
Entonces,
decide.
Eso también nos hace falta.
And that is also what
Y
we
está
need,
allí,
and it is there.
Detenido.
It's
Y
being detained.
aprovecho
And I also take the
para decirle a los
opportunity to
legisladores
tell you
que,
that,
primero,
first of all,
agradecerles
to appreciate,
porque
because
se aprobaron las leyes
they
secundarias,
approved the
ahora sí.
secondary laws,
La vez pasada
and
yo
now, last
cometí el
time,
error, me informaron
they informed
de
me
que ya
that,
se habían aprobado,
that they had approved it,
pero no,
but then it wasn't true.
ahora sí,
But now they did.
ya se
They
aprobaron.
did approve them.
Agradecerle a los legisladores,
And I
a
want to
todos
appreciate the
los que votaron
legislator, all
a
those
favor
that
y a los que
voted in
votaron en
favor,
contra, porque
even the
ya,
ones that voted
tenemos
against,
este marco legal
because we have a
que
legal
era importante,
area
necesario
that is necessary
para
and
dar
important
tranquilidad, para
for
que
the
haya
tranquility,
certidumbre,
so that there would not be
y agradecerles.
uncertainty, and to
y
appreciate,
recordarles que
and to
tenemos
remind them
pendientes
that we have pending
lo de la prohibición
regarding
de las
prohibition
condonaciones
of condoning
de impuestos,
of taxes,
la reforma del 28
the reform
constitucional,
of
es muy
28
importante,
constitutional, which is very important,
que tenemos pendiente
that we have pending
lo de
that on
convertir en delito grave
making a
la
grave crime,
facturación falsa,
fabrication of false
lo de las
documents
empresas fantasmas.
of phantom
Hemos
companies,
estado haciendo un análisis
and we've been doing an
y se
analysis,
calcula
and we calculate
que se evaden,
that they evade,
se dejan de
or they
recibir
that
alrededor de 500,000 millones de
it
pesos
causes us not to have 500
por
million
el
pesos
uso
due to the use
de las facturas falsas.
of these false
Es un
documentations.
robo
It's a thievery
en despoblado.
that's all over,
No,
uncontrolled, unabated
despoblado.
thievery. No,
a la
not.
vista de todos.
It's being viewed by all,
Y eso está ahí pendiente,
and that is pending.
sí, que también ojalá y
That hopefully
se apruebe,
they will approve it shortly,
porque eso nos va a ayudar
because
mucho.
that will help us very much.
Si no hay
If
defraudación
if
fiscal,
there is no fiscal defrauding,
la hacienda pública
in
se
Hacienda
fortalece
will become
y
strengthened,
no hay motivo
and there won't be
ni
any
razón
reason
para aumentar
or
impuestos.
motive to increase taxes. or even to decree increased taxes or indebt the country. Only we need to end fiscal privileges, that we all contribute, that we all pay our taxes. That is what we plan. The same in the case of corruption. If there's no corruption, then of course the budget will be enough. One that stayed pending since yesterday in the Sea of Cortez, they started the initiating the fishing from these areas. So putting at risk the little marine orca. It has to do after 9 months of gestation. They have not offered them, and they haven't lifted the stop of, and they haven't compensated them due to the stop of activity and fishing. So they've started fishing, putting at risk the small marine orca. Yes, we're implementing a program for the zone that includes a protection for species that are in extinction and the support for the fishermen. We are working on that, a program that's integral, where they participate various institutions. The environmental, fishing depends on agriculture, and of course the Secretary of Well-being, the Secretary of Marines, and pretty soon we will inform you regarding this matter. But they say they have not. Yes, we're working on that. Yes. We also are cleaning everything. There was a lot of corruption. So first we have to resolve all that, that the money gets to them well. Because look at this year we have run with luck because we had not had problems with that effect, hurricanes. There haven't been cases of emergencies. It has been a year that we would say is with very little natural phenomenon. But even so, there was the bad custom that before the rains, which of course affects, there was a declaration of emergency, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 or 100. Because that meant utilizing money from a purse. Now they could buy different things that they wanted to buy. And there was corruption in that management of these funds. It was a little bit like the expenses of the national security. Perhaps that's where we have the graphics of the declarations of emergency and the expenses by year, to compare with the declarations of emergency of this year and the expenses of this year. Because there was I am not talking about another matter. I'm talking about that example of how
supuestamente
they
se ayudaba.
supposedly helped.
Supuestamente se ayudaba.
Supposedly they helped.
Más claro.
But it could not be more clear than a tree. Look how much money they took. That's the declarations of emergency. Look, per year, 152, 102. There's some that are less. The seismic year. And then we've identified the hurricanes, which were strong. And that's why I spoke that we've had been fortunate this year. But you can see, if you put on the other slide regarding the money, and look at the expense, and you can see what they took, how many millions of dollars. Wow, that's thousands of millions of dollars. See, that's miles de pesos, or pesos. I'm sorry. So that's 42,877 million pesos in 2017. 554 million.
Claro.
Is it clear now?
Claro que era negocio.
Of course it was a business.
No llegaba.
It wouldn't get to the people.
Pues llegaba una parte.
Well, they would get a very little part.
Robaban.
And the rest they would steal.
La mayor parte.
The majority of it.
Compras.
They would purchase.
Con proveedores
like some kind of proof.
Favoritos.
They had favorite people. They would devote themselves to this.
Entonces, todo esto lo estamos arreglando.
So all of these things, we're fixing it.
Es como el caso de los
it's like the case of the medications. All of it.
Entonces, sí va a haber
so yes, there will be support for the fishermen, but we want it to get to them in a direct way. For example, so he's asking something about that. Yes, functionaries and the construction companies and the providers. That's who was getting the money. So they basically just kept the money and did none of the repairs. So now I was remembering some of the businesses that they had, where they promoted even via media, communication media. They would pay in order to pressure the government and try to pressure the government that we cede to give resources to determined actions. So no, not that anymore. Here I clarify that we've had lots of luck, and I hope that we end the year this way. But this we had done so that you could see, so that the whole world asked for a declaration of emergency. And it doesn't get, the support doesn't get to the right people. And yes, we have to support. In the case of Huila, at the end of 28, that affected a lot. Nayarit. Yeah, we gave them. And they reconstructed towns. In Tuxpan. And they worked in Tecuala and other towns. But the expenses there is a slide regarding the hurricane, recent hurricane, that fortunately did not produce any human death in Lorena. Let's see if we have that slide. So where it is required, we will support. But it was a practice then. The same in the case of drought. They would say, well, there's a special program or resources, special resources to organize or organizations or governments. And that we're being cautious with, because otherwise. So is there complaints regarding the information? For example, the state of Mexico, that there was demands in the fiscal. Is there more demands regarding these deviations of funds? But this is, for example, very concrete, Lorena. In general, but you can see by state. Yes, it's by state. Chiapas, one out of one. Yes, here it's authorized. 5 out of 5 requests, and 2 out of 5 have been resolved, and 20 are pending in Sonora. No, I don't see it there. I don't know what they asked him. Yes, we are helping. Yes, the states help. We're talking about the budget, federal budget. Okay, very well. We'll see each other tomorrow. And we've talked enough for today. And we'll see each other tomorrow. What is something about abortion? So they had a contract that they won. How are you going to resolve this dilemma? Are you going to take away? Let the office check the Secretary of Public Function. Let them determine. So the company won, but in any case, let them emit a dictation from the Secretary for Public Function. That there not be not even a suspicion. You need to be and look like you are honest. Let it all be clarified, all of it. And it doesn't matter who it deals with. And let the public function emit their dictation. Have you talked about that matter? No. I didn't even know. So now I'm finding out. What about what happened last time regarding the complex thing? No, I did not talk to him about it. Yes, that time I did talk to him. I had communication with that, but I haven't talked with him again regarding these matters. And now I'm finding out of this situation, that the Secretary of Public Function, let them inform you. And I repeat, zero corruption, zero impunity. All of us have to behave well. So they made an observation that there were certain businessmen in good faith. They said, how is it a grave crime of double or false documentation or phantom companies or fiscal defrauding, which is evasion of taxes? Article 19 of the Constitution. So then I reviewed it. And I'm taking advantage because, no, I was going to give you a point of view regarding this. And I made a review. It's a procedure. It has to do with SAT. Because they talk about a detention that's preventative. That will take into account or take place after going through several departments. No, it's not fast track. It's not like they told me, with all respect, that SAT would declare it, that someone was utilizing false documentation, and then immediately they would go to the judge and then to the can, but no, it's not like that. The SAT will present the complaint with evidence to the district attorney, and before that, the presumptuous delinquent or presumptive delinquent has to clarify things, his situation legally. He has a possibility of resorting to authorities and to show his evidence, and he has that right to be listened to and attended to. But after that, it'll go to the district attorney, and then they have to document. They have to have the evidence. And then the district attorney sends it to the general attorney. And there, the public minister, district attorney will have to call the parts, and then there's presentation of evidence. It's a process. If there is truly a crime, because they were actually false documents, then it goes to the judge. If the judge decides that there is a crime, then he goes forth. So the person then would go to jail, and they would initiate the process. So he has the right to stay. So there's a whole it's a whole route, legal way, completely. So what do I say to those that are preoccupied or not happy with this situation? Well, I say to them that Article number 19 of the Constitution has been reformed, and it applies for corrupt people. And it applies for people involved in stealing gas. It applies for money laundering. It applies for all. So therefore, don't be worried. It's just a matter of behaving well. If we behave well, and if we are not corrupt,
defraudamos,
if we don't defraud,
si no nos dedicamos
we
a
do
lavado de
not
dinero,
devote ourselves to laundering money,
ahora sí que no hay nada
then
que
there's
temer.
nothing to be fearful of.
Y es parejo,
And it's even
porque no es
across the board,
posible
because it is not
que ese
possible
procedimiento
that procedure
convertir
of
estos
converting
delitos en
these
graves
crimes into grave
se apliquen a
be
unos
applied
y a
to
otros
some
no.
and not to others.
Imagínense
Imagine
un
a
guachicolero
person stealing
de los
gas
que recogen,
that
que aprovecho
that take,
para
you know,
informarles,
to let you know,
porque esto
because this
no llega a saberse,
sometimes is not known,
pero el que
but that one that
llena un bidón
that fills
de 20 litros
a 20-liter container
de gasolina
of gasoline
es ese procedimiento
is the same procedure,
y no
and there will
hay
not
derecho a fianza,
be any right to
es
bail.
delito grave.
It is a grave crime.
Entonces aprovecho para
So I take
explicarlo,
advantage
es decir,
to
ya cambió,
explain it to you that it's changed.
ya
Now
no se puede
you cannot
permitir
be permitting
este tipo de
this
conductas.
type
Todos
of
tenemos
conduct.
que
We
ayudar.
all have to help.
Por eso, la
And
pregunta
that
que
is
me haces,
why the question you are asking me
no se puede tener
cannot
autoridad
have
política
a political authority
si no hay autoridad moral.
if you don't have moral authority.
Entonces,
So therefore,
no hay
there is
impunidad
no
para nadie.
impunity for anyone.
Entonces, tampoco
So
es
not even for
el juicio
the
sumario,
judgment, summary
la
judgment,
acusación
the
sin
accusation
fundamento,
without foundation,
el afectar la dignidad de las
to affect the
personas.
dignity of the people. No.
No, pero sí tenemos que hacer
But
la
yes,
vida pública
we do have to make
más
public
pública,
life more
transparente.
public, transparent.
Vamos a acabar con la
Let's
corrupción.
end with corruption.
Eso nos va a ayudar
That
muchísimo.
will help us tremendously.
Hace unos días salió una
A
encuesta.
few years ago,
sobre
a few
percepción.
days ago, we had an inquest regarding perception.
Me decían
And they
que
used to say to me
sorprendidos
that they were
en el
surprised
extranjero,
from the foreign countries
los que aplicaron esta
that those
encuesta
that applied to this inquest,
por los resultados,
due to the results,
de que ya nos califican
that
mejor
now they qualify as better
en cuanto
when
a
it comes
que
to
no hay
that there
la
is
corrupción
no corruption
que se
like
tenía antes,
they had before,
se percibía.
or that was perceived before.
Entonces, esto nos ayuda mucho.
So this
Ayer
helps
estuve
us
con
very much.
banqueros
And yesterday I was with bankers.
y independientemente
And independently
de que siempre
from
hablan
that they always talk
antes más
before
de Estado de Derecho.
of the state of right.
Les importa mucho eso.
They're very
Que se
interested
garantice
in
la
that
legalidad,
they guarantee legalization
que haya
and
un auténtico
legality,
Estado de Derecho.
that there be an authentic state of
Que,
rightness.
bueno, pero eso ya pasó.
But that has
a
already
segundo plano.
happened to second plan.
Ya no me dicen
Now they don't ask me
si
if
va a haber garantías a
if
las
there's
inversiones,
guarantees to investments. No, they don't ask me none of that.
dudando de eso.
They don't even
Ya
doubt
saben
that.
que
They already know that
hay legalidad.
there is legal.
Están bien informados.
They are well informed of that.
Y vienen
And
a
they
decir
come to say
que le tienen confianza
that they
al
have
gobierno
confidence in the government
porque
because
se ha tomado la decisión
we have taken the decision
de combatir la corrupción.
of combating corruption.
O sea, eso nos
That
ayuda mucho.
has helped us very much,
Hasta en
even
cuestiones que tienen
in
que
matters
ver
that have
con
to
la
do with,
economía o
with
con las
economy and finances.
Entonces, sí es
So yes,
importante
it is important
no permitir
not to
a
permit
nadie
anyone
actos de corrupción.
acts of
O sea,
corruption.
vamos a
And so
terminar de
we're
limpiar
going
el
to
gobierno
finish cleaning the
por completo
government
de
completely
corrupción. Nos
of
vemos
corruption.
mañana.
And we'll see
Gracias.
each other tomorrow. Thank you. Wow. Oh my gosh. Every time I see this, every time I see the president talk, I am so impressed by what he has to say. And today they talked about the young people that are missing, and that's why they were all wearing gray shirts, t-shirts. It was given to them by the family members of the missing 43 students and young people that have been missing for 5 years. Today was the anniversary of that. And they're working very hard towards finding them, and they're even offering a reward. They're looking for one of the main people that was involved, and there's a 10 million peso a reward, and then there's another 1.5 million for information, anyone leading the information to finding either the young people alive or dead. They don't know whether they're dead or alive yet. Of course, everybody thinks that after 5 years, but there's other people that have been found after many years still alive, so it's possible that they're alive somewhere, and we're hopeful. Also, there was talk about how these previous presidents have given away many of the things that belong to the people to private corporations, and that really bothers me. Because there is no end to these corporations that are stealing from the people and putting them in such a situation of not being able to afford to survive. They rip them off in every possible way. And he mentioned a few today. Education. They privatized education. They privatized electricity. They sold they only got to sell 20% of the refineries and petroleum, but they were, by the end of this year, they would have sold probably 75%, gotten rid of and kept the money. All these political officials. And he also mentioned that if he hadn't gone into office, would they have reopened the case of these 43 missing children, which the government was putting a lot of stumbling blocks into finding them. There's also, he gave evidence of how they were using natural disasters in order to divert funds, and they never got to the people. So the people are still waiting for many of those natural disasters. They never got the funds. They never had things rebuilt. They still don't have their homes. They're still homeless. And the government officials and companies that got these funds just kept the money and left the people in circumstances that are inhumane. And so this last part he was talking about, they mentioned that one of when they were doing the bidding for the companies, paper companies that would be providing the paper for the books, a guy that was the compadre, which means that he baptized his daughter, had gotten a contract for the paper, but he asked them to defer because he didn't want it to look bad, that that it might look like it was done as a favor, to make it look like there was some impropriety. So he requested from him to let go of that contract, and he did, in order to but he had gotten it legitimately, and the president asked him to please not go forth with that contract. And now again they mentioned that he had bid on another contract and he got it, and he said, look, I had no knowledge of that. Let them go before the the authorities and discuss it and look into it, and if there was any impropriety, then you can go after him, because I'm not covering for him. But I didn't know about it, and he's not going to make him lose another contract just because he knows him. He is a person that is well known for doing good jobs, and just because they know him doesn't mean that they're now going to be in a situation where they are no longer going to be able to do their business. So he said, yeah, you look into it, and if I didn't have the moral authority by keeping honest with these things, then I wouldn't have the moral authority to fight corruption. So anyway, that's where it ended. But this was also a very good meeting. And if you want to sit through it, it is quite long. It is 2.5 hours long. But it is very full of information. And it makes me sad that foreign governments, and I do believe a big part of it is U.S. related, is taking advantage of the Mexican people and involved in acquiring a lot of the, paying the bribes and all that in order to acquire some of the things that belong to the people, like the energy and education and all that. But I'm not involved in it for the politics. I'm involved in it because I want what is right to be done for the Mexican people and also for the American people. I think that we need to pay attention to what these companies are doing and how they are controlling us and how they're letting our things that belong to us be taken away like they were in Mexico. And all of the Latin American countries are watching. If you notice in Peru and Spain and different parts of South America and Central America, they're paying attention to what's happening in Mexico because they can see that there is a possibility of combating corruption and getting rid of these companies that are coming in and stealing and looting the countries using these documents that they had the government sign in order to help them out financially, which forced them to use these plans that would liberate them of all their all the things that they had in their country, all the wealth of the country. But anyway, I've got an appointment. I gotta go, and I hope that you get something out of this. Thank you very much. Have a great day.